Hello, welcome to Sword Talk. This is our episode, I think it's 8, I think. I hope that's right. But if you're new to Sword Talk, this is us, all the guys at Sterling Armory, just drinking drinks and talking about some sort of sword topic. Today's topic is going to be pretty fun because for the majority of our Sword Talks that we've done so far, it's always been about other things, so movie stuff or various swords that we like, from history or whatever. So today we're actually going to be talking about our own stuff, which is great. So we get to highlight some of our stuff that we enjoy making. So with that, let me bring everybody on. And I'm running the stream today. So again, if something's messed up, it's because it's me. There we go. Okay. So before we go any further, already starting off good. Before we go any further, quick intros. Start with Chet.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chet. I like to make anything out of steel, leather, or wood. My shop is Tribal Fox Creations.
Awesome. And then I always forget to say this, so all of our links and everything will be in the comments below. So Tribal Fox will be down there. And then Warbur and Warcub, you're up next.
Yep, I'm Warbur. You can find me on Facebook at Joshua Von Warbur or at Dark Archer Design with underscores between them on Instagram or darkarcherdesign.com on my website.
I'm Colton from Copperthorn Customs. You can find me Facebook, Instagram, TikTok under Copperthorn Customs.
Warcub. Yep.
Work herb.
All right. Thomas.
I'm Thomas. I've been working with Chris for a couple years now. You can find me through our Sterling Armory Facebook page. There's no other way to find me.
And then I'm Chris. Again, you can find all of us at Sterling Armory on Facebook, and then we have a new Instagram now. And then
I'm not there either.
Here. No, Thomas isn't there. None of us are there. Just images of Blade. And then if you're here, you're obviously found our YouTube page. So, So before we go into the topic, what's everyone drinking? I'll go ahead and start today. So I got lucky and found. I'm a huge fan of the Screwball peanut butter whiskey, which I guess is like the in thing now. But I found this other creamy whiskey chocolate peanut butter thing, and it's pretty good. I think the Screwball is a little bit better. So, and I got my NASA mug, and I'm good to go. So, Thomas, what are you drinking?
I'm keeping it simple with a glass of piss, apparently.
Nice.
From the Bear Grylls school.
That's what it actually is supposed to be.
Right there.
Mine's pre-carbonated. Stings.
So, it's just a whiskey sour, just very poor in the coloring of the camera.
Way more hair.
It's the flavor texture.
Colton and I are drinking Sterling Armory brand. Sterling Armory brand. I found a guy behind a 7-Eleven that's blue sign, and he's going to make us our own. This one is written in crayon. It is strawberry hibiscus, and Colton's is.
I didn't actually read it.
Pear jasmine.
Harry Jasmine.
Oh my god!
How is the Harry Jasmine? Is it good?
Harry jasmine. Well, you've seen
That's
Aladdin.
the extended edition.
Whole new world in that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
honestly. They're both really good.
They're very fruity. They are 12% alcohol. I'm going to talk to them seriously. Going to talk to them about making us some honey wine. But they're 12%, and they almost taste watered down a little bit, but there's like no bite to it whatsoever. But it tastes like fruity water or fruity juice.
And the bottle is half the size of my one last week, so things will be better.
Regulating overboard.
This doesn't tell me mine.
Booze cruise.
Booze cruise.
Yeah. Good time.
Oh, it does. This is 17%. Well, not bad.
All right, what you got, Chet?
I as pretty much always, have Coke Zero and tequila.
That'll do.
Stick with what you know.
That's a man's drink right there.
I got a giant bottle I'm trying to work through. I'll get through this eventually by Sword Talk
Sounds like we
25.
need to we need to do some more sword talks, apparently.
Chet,
All right,
Chet, I noticed you're in someone else's house.
different
I keep
house
getting
every week.
moved.
Yeah.
Protective
Yeah,
services.
He had a kid, so the FBI had to move him.
Yeah, Chet sponsored by the CIA.
They approved this, huh?
Yeah.
You can tell it's a kitchen. Uh-oh. They're going to have to move him again.
Oh, damn. Why'd you say something, Fields?
All right, so our topic today is a fun one. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of our sword talks so far, in fact, all of them, have been about other things, like either movie swords or movies that we like. But today we're actually going to be talking about our own stuff. So this is a chance for the audience to get to know us a bit better and the art that we do aside from. So the actual topic is our and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, our top favorite things that we've made, and it doesn't have to be a sword. So swords will make the list, obviously, because that's what we are. But we do have other things to see. So this will be a great chance for you guys to get a chance to know us a little better. And so I can't remember how we were doing this. So let me pull up. You guys ready to start?
Yep.
Okay, so add stream, and now I'm the one hiding behind the logo. Hold on one second.
Down.
Where'd he go? There we go. Okay, so Colton's up first.
There it is.
We're doing our top 3, by the way. So Colton, you made this one?
I did. So I've made quite a few lightsabers. It kind of used to be one of my big things. I don't know how many I've made, 30, 40
Yeah,
of
that's
them.
my
give or take.
used to do the same.
And this is like one of my favorites I ever did. I did this 2015, like a month or two after the movie came out. So there wasn't really any good ones on the market at the time. Like honestly, they were kind of trash. They were super weird proportions. The cross guard pieces were massive. I was just like, these are not good. So I ended up making this one, and it was extremely time consuming because that's all done by hand. And then mostly just kind of layered with a couple different layers of DOM tubing. Started like 1.25 DOM, 1.5 1.75 with a couple of thin wall pieces in there, all welded together. What?
That's how I did mine as well. Are you using aluminum or stainless?
Oh, it's just steel, just mild actually.
Oh, it's mild steel? Oh, wow.
Yep, and then painted and clear coated.
Wow.
So it's actually very light. It came in like one of my lighter ones. So yeah, I don't know. It just a lot of time into that project, and it turned out pretty freaking awesome. So
I like how you did the blades. Is that like a hot glued blade effect?
they're silicone.
Silicone?
So yeah, just clear silicone. You just rub it down the blade, and they work really well. And then it like had all the flickery light features in it. And the 2 cross blades are Christmas tree icicles covered in silicone.
Nice.
So I don't know how well they'll take a hit, but they're pretty
look cool.
Do you still have this piece?
I don't still have this piece. It makes me very sad because it was.
You saw it?
It's the best lightsaber I ever made, and it is gone. Luckily, I know the guy who has it, and he's awesome. So
What'd you use
it
for
went to a
electronics?
good home. What?
What did you use for electronics in it? As far as
I honestly don't remember, and I think he upgraded it because I'm totally all about fabbing the thing, and then I'll put electronics in it that work. But he upgraded to some higher end soundboards and speakers and whatnot.
Awesome. Yeah, I have. I just happen to have. That's my first one that I made. So.
Awesome.
Pretty.
Yeah. So sweet. I didn't know you made that from scratch. I thought you meant it, like made it from a kit or something.
No,
So
like yeah, that's straight up scratch every piece. Lots of file work in that thing.
I can imagine. All right. And then just a side note to all those watching. So we did our top 3, but for all of us, this was a very hard thing to narrow down. So I think all of us had our number threes could have been a lot of different things. So, Colton, did you have any runner-ups there for number three?
I did because I put it in there and then had to take it back out.
Your Lego castle. I like that.
Yeah, big old Lego castle. It's really fun. I went back and forth on that a lot. I build a lot of Legos as well. Big old. I really love doing castles in Star Wars, so I had a big 5-foot Lego castle tower that I almost did, and then just didn't.
That's okay. We all saw it. It was cool.
Next time, next round.
Yeah,
next time.
All right, next one. I forgot the order actually. Next one is Thomas. Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah, so this one was probably right around the middle of blades that I've made, and I mean it's an executioner. You don't see a lot of these around, and those that you do are really like just wall hangers at best. Made this. In hindsight, I wish I had done the pommel a little bit different, but overall, I think we pulled this from one of the German museums, right, Chris?
He was a mixture of a couple. Yeah. The blade design was from a German piece.
The other thing I regret, and we did it again too, because we have another blank for an executioner, and we did this. We missed the same thing. We forgot to drill the holes because a lot of executioner blades, which they think even now they still haven't said, like we haven't found why, but they have like holes at the tip of the blade. So we forgot to do that again.
We were just talking about the 3 holes because I was just holding one of his executioners. Like, why do they all have 3 holes? And
I think it's because while they're swinging, it makes a pleasant whistling sound, and the person getting their head cut off is like, "Oh, that's nice," and then done.
Yeah, there you go.
I honestly think it's a precursor to. I honestly thought it was just a precursor to bowling balls.
Bowling swords. That would suck.
Yeah. It didn't work out too well, but once they rolled it out, it worked a lot better.
What
Germany might have known.
Yeah, what was really cool about this piece was, so I had just gotten back from the Royal Armories in Leeds. So Thomas was like, "Yeah, I want to make an executioner." I was like, "I just looked at a bunch of original executioner blades."
That's right.
And so the pommel and the crossguard here is also somewhat, and the blade itself is also somewhat based off a couple in the Royal Armories. But the cool thing was, is I got a chance. I thought these blades were beefy and kind of stayed thick all throughout, like almost, and turned them into, so they felt like an axe. That's what I thought, because they have one use, right? Just chop, that's it.
Yep.
But that's not how they are at all. They're very thick at the base, and where the fuller is, which is only the first, 5th or 4th of the blade, drastic distal taper right there, and then the rest of the blade is super thin. And so it's more of a machete than it is an axe. So, and he was able to get that grind feature and that distal taper profile in when he made this one. So it's hard to say, but it's hard to see in the image, but that's a beast of a blade there. I think it was pretty big.
Yep. What we ended up clocking it weight-wise, though? I think we got it under...
It wasn't that bad. It was only 3.5, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was under 4 for sure.
What's the overall length of the whole piece?
I think it was 40...
No, it's over... It's, I think 50, right? Or 52?
It was either... I think it's somewhere between 48 and 52, if I remember.
Yeah. Because we had to extend the tang.
Right. That was why. Because that's why I think it's... Because we could only do a total... with the heat treat we were doing, we could only do up to 48.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was an awesome piece. And he was grinding on it. He's like, "I feel like I'm grinding too much." I'm like, "Nope, keep going."
No, it was the fuller. And gosh knows, I still do this with fullers, but I always feel like I'm just going to burn through the middle of the dang thing.
Right.
Yeah. And it's hard to see in this too, but there's this feature that executioner blades have that a lot of blades don't. And it's very common on executioner blades where the fuller actually terminates very abruptly before the guard hits.
Oh, yeah.
And he got that in there too, and he actually nailed that grind. So that's hard to do.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to do as a blade overall, and unfortunately, I never got to see it used. But it's out there somewhere.
Yeah, he did sell it. And I was like, "Are you sure you want to sell it?"
That is so. So I actually have the inverse problem everyone else does with this list. I don't grow attached to things, So like we were like, oh, your favorites. I was like, I don't favorite things. Like I make it, I enjoy it for a minute, and then I'm like, all right, on to the next. And I like yeet that one to somebody to let them play with it.
I wish we could all learn from that wisdom.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's hard.
That's so hard.
Yeah, it's not as great as you think, but it has.
Yeah.
Like when somebody
I
asks for a
leave
list
mine
like
up
this, I
on the
can't
rack.
do it.
I leave mine up on the rack until I get like bored of them, or until a fair comes along, and then I just bring them all. And if it sells, and then boom, done.
Mm-hmm.
So as a reference point, I believe, if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, Thomas, but that cross guard is what, 12 inches wide or 13 inches wide?
Jeez.
Damn.
Wow.
13. It was 13.
13 wide.
Because that was the thing we were joking about when we made
And the
it.
blade is what,
Big.
3.5 wide at the base, or is it more than that?
I think it's
Looks wider.
I think it's 3.5, and then we tapered it down to about 2 and 3/4 at the
At the
tip.
base? Yeah. And that was a hand cut blade too, by the way. So,
Jeez.
Oh God, I just had PTSD remembering about that cut. That was the worst part. Was just cutting it out of the bar stock.
Yeah, it was not good.
Yeah, any disciple of Fields always does the same thing. When I first got in the shop, he was like, cool, there's a leftover piece of metal over there. And I was like, cool, I'm going to make a Viking sword that's like 50 inches long and 4 inches wide at the base. And, you know, and I cut it all out on the shitty bandsaw, riding it as it's like bending.
Still there. It's still working.
Oh,
Still there. Yeah.
It is a death trap. Like, all right, one day we're gonna
I
have
paid
to
$80 for that thing 15 years ago, and it's still going.
Crazy.
Actually, no. It was
Nobody
more than
knows
that.
how.
By the grace of electrical tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So the wires that hold it
Wires.
together.
Let's
broke.
hope OSHA's not listening.
So there's actually a bandsaw blade,
Next t-shirt.
or I'm sorry, a jigsaw blade that makes the connection
Oh,
between the
just
wires. Yeah, because that's like,
Oh my gosh.
all right. No one heard that.
Mechanical engineer over here.
Don't worry, guys, he's a professional.
All
Some
right.
guy from NASA is going to come by and take your reward back.
They've tried.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that means we got a view.
Right. True.
Always look at the
NASA's
positive.
watching.
That's watching.
NASA's watching.
Yay!
Yeah, this is my number 3, and like you were saying earlier, Fields, like this one was difficult. Like it was a fun one, but it was also difficult because I had my list in my head already. I was like, these are definitely the top 3 things that I've made so far. And then as I started sampling pictures from like Instagram, Facebook, website, looking at them, I'm like, oh no, I remember that. That was my favorite, but it's been gone for so long. And like with me, and I'm sure a couple of you other guys as well, you work in different mediums. So where you used to do graphic design or leatherworking or steel now, you've kind of branched off. So you've got favorite things in different mediums. So I tried for my list to try and branch out with all like my main 3 skill sets. And I landed on this one, which was Steampunk Bane. So I did the leather work for the face mask, the choker collar, the chest rig, and the arm with the venom tube running down it all, and everything's articulated. And I did it in 2012 or 13 while I lived in Orlando, and I was getting ready for MegaCon. And you see the belt. The belt's got like Mosey Nagat pouches on it, and then the bottom of my feet there, my leather shoes even have like leather shoe shields on them, spats. They have leather spats on them, like shoe armor, because I got really into the idea. And it wasn't Bane originally; it was just a tank I designed for a steampunk video game series that I was working on, where it was a prisoner that had been lobotomized, and he was just strapped in an exo rig mindlessly, moving giant rocks. So that's why I've got like the prisoner thing. I ordered the painter's overalls, and I taped them the night before MegaCon, and in Orlando, and spray painted black stripes all down. I'm not even sure if it was all going to work. And then threw them in the wash and then shredded them up, and I shredded up the tank top so it had a hole in it. And then I did a cataract eye, and I did rigid collodion on my eye to make it look like I gotten hit with a giant rock. And this was right before my hair gave up completely and left my head. I still had like a little shitty, like receding mohawk. going on. I was still kind of proud of it. But yeah, I walked around feeling like a badass because I was like, Steampunk Bane. No one's done this yet. I feel badass about it. But I remember the feeling like making the fingers work, which were all pipe connectors on the fingertips. I riveted it into a workman's glove and then did like triple, quadruple laminations of leather on top of it with hinge joints so I could make it move so it looked like a giant. So Bane was only strong in his right arm or left arm or whatever. Left arm.
It's my strong hand.
Yep. And I remember that, and that was I was like, this is probably one of my top threes, just because the feeling of completing the costume before MegaCon, like an hour or two before we left. Like, okay, this has to dry in the tube, and we're good, and then done.
Yeah, it feels good though, doesn't it? Knowing you're actually done.
And then I sold it. I sold all of it. I sold the entire outfit, like piece by piece, at conventions because I just stopped wearing it.
I thought I remember seeing that mask at the Bay Area Run Fair. Wasn't it out there?
Yeah. Someone bought it at Bay Area, along with the arm, and I believe one of my friends bought the chest rig. But yeah, good times.
Yeah, awesome. I almost well, we'll get to mine in a second. I'll stop talking. So, do you have any other competitors for number 3?
Oh, every one of them. Like again, my list changed like 3 or 4 times. I kept going back and being like, so my runner-up for this one, for number 3, was a leather chest piece I did, which is over on my bookshelf over there that has big pauldrons and a big leather cuirass kind of deal.
I can model it.
I like that.
Yeah.
You should have worn that, man.
It comes over.
Lovely assistant.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And as I actually put it on the table earlier today to take photos of it. And I did take photos of it. And as I was photographing it, I was like, that is a cool leather thing I've done. But
I love that you hold your phone up.
There we go. Oh, wait.
That's it.
Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Hold on.
I'll keep holding it.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
so that was my runner-up for 3. And it's got front and back piece. And I was just so proud how I molded the leather and everything like that. And then, I looked at it and I was like, the Bane arm was pretty cool too. I should probably put that in.
Yeah, I think we're all in that. How do we get back? So there we go. We switched orders.
In the reflection of your phone.
Yeah. It was hard to see. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. That tab you probably saw was called Fat Dick Imgur. It's great. And for those of you that I'm going to save you time if you're trying to look at our show and pause everything. It's that Dick by Imgur and then unemployment insurance benefits. Right next to each other. So, I get unemployment and I look at fat dicks. That's kind of my game.
Yeah. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, man.
You do. Around 3 a.m. Yeah.
There's easier ways to find a Batman, Josh.
Nah, you guys can make your own, Josh. I'm here for you.
Appreciate you.
Right. So yeah, number 3 was very difficult to pick. This is actually one of the few I don't have on hand right now. So I was like, well, I immediately crossed off anything from the other job, from aerospace. So I was like, let me just focus on the sword world or crafting world.
Yeah,
and I was thinking about like various costumes I've made. I almost put Snake Eyes on here because I was really proud of that costume. But then I ended up, I just kept coming back to this piece. So this is the first, it's not the first sharp sword I made by far, but it's the first sharp sword that I knew was honed exactly right. And I knew that because I always have troubles doing double cuts, which is where you do the cut from underneath and the mat doesn't move, and then you come back with the second cut. I always have problems with that cut. And in fact, I don't think I've successfully done that cut until I picked up this blade, and I did it without even thinking. I just went choop choop, and I was like, I just did a double cut with this sword, and I was like, holy crap! So I put another mat up, did it again. Like I could consistently do it with this blade, and This is the first sharp blade that does start with the thicker base. So this is a 0.31 thick base, and then a drastic distal taper on it. And the harmonics on the blade just came out absolutely perfect. And I did sell it. Yeah, I sold it actually at Sarasota last year. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to remake. Actually, I've been thinking about it in my head, remaking it already. Just have one for myself. But you'll know it's very similar to one I have later on in this list. But yeah, I loved it. I think that's when after this piece, I knew that all my sharp blades, I knew exactly how to hone them a little better. So yeah, that's that. I also, I almost put a 1966 Mustang in here because my first major project was I had to restore my mom's car, which was sitting in the backyard for 10 years. And I had to rebuild everything in that car to get it to work. And that was my high school car. So I almost put that on there, but I was like, nah, that's not really, doesn't really flow with this, this topic, but close.
That would have been cool.
The aesthetic.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Chet, number 3.
All right. So I originally started off doing leather work, and inevitably when you work in leather, you do end up finding that you get a lot of requests for stuff out of the fetish community.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Josh definitely knows. So this is actually my latest collar I made. It has a lot of like neat key features that I kind of got to test out. For instance, like the name plate right there is completely custom etched by me here in my workshop. I kind of devised a technique where I use the Cricut to like find exactly what font I want and then make that as a negative and cover it up so everything but just the text is exposed. And then I put that in a ferric chloride mix. And that just steadily eats away at it. And then I just pull off all of the vinyl from the Cricut and it leaves everything that was covered completely fine. You just polish it and you get that really nice look. This one also featured a red rabbit fur collar that I went with some watered down black leather dye and hit it with, so it made a nice like brindle effect on the inside. So you've got this like black and red play on itself. It also has alternating. There goes my baby in the background. It also has
5-day-old baby.
Yeah, 5 days old. It also has a alternating stitching in color, which I thought was really cool, as well as these like cool little custom fixtures in order to hold the rings in place. As you can see, they go around the side. This one also had a locking buckle, so it could be locked with a small little like padlock if you wanted it. I was very proud of this one. This one was custom from the start. I loved the red model appearance in the dye. Normally I just do a straight dye color, but this time I went and kind of played with it in layers to try and get this nice like marbled red. I think it came out really good in the end.
So let's pause right there, and we all have to congratulate Chet. For a 5-day-old baby.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you say day-old baby?
5-day-old.
Okay, I thought you said day-old.
22nd-old baby.
Yeah.
Maybe because I'm like, man, babies and food are so different. Like day-old baby is probably a good thing as opposed to day-old anything related.
She was born on Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Her name is Boudica Rose.
Wow.
So obviously named.
Nikki's good.
Nikki's doing great. Way better than the first baby.
Awesome.
That's good.
Yeah, fetish leather is a crazy market. You meet some interesting people that are just super passionate about super certain things.
Yep.
I've done quite a few, and it's a weird thing because I say it's weird in the sense that you're going outside of a comfort zone you usually wouldn't go to, because usually I was like, oh, medieval stuff, steampunk, that kind of stuff, and then someone's like, cool, can you make a horsetail that looks like my ass is a horse's ass, but also a strap that will go around the young? I'm like, I could, yeah, I just never thought of it.
How are you so strong?
Can you make me a Doberman mask?
Right, yeah. You're like, oh, yeah, I probably could. That's an interesting thing. I could step out of my wheelhouse to make and learn a few things from it that I'll apply to different projects. And then you get like two dudes in your leather working room, stripping down ass naked, trying stuff on, and you're like, oh, this is happening now.
This is. I enjoy this.
You get
I hope this doesn't stir anything new.
Was it Freak Fest Miami? And that's cool too. and then you end up partying your tits off in a gay club, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
2015 was rad for me.
Yeah.
I remember the stories right after.
Yep.
Like you never guess what just happened.
Yep. That was a good time. I love it.
Yeah.
Life is an adventure. I don't have a good or bad like barometer of it. It's just like the craziest things just happen.
Awesome. And Chet, hopefully, so that same technique you can use on guards and pommels and blades even. So yeah, that's. I like using the battery stuff over the ferric chloride, but they both work very similar. In fact, the ferric chloride might work faster. I think, right?
I mean, that was set for about 30 minutes, but the beauty of the ferric chloride is I can just dunk it and leave it. Whereas with the battery, you got to sit there with the little diode and just like run it over, and hopefully you get the depth, and it's hard to get it consistent. So like for me, that's what makes the difference. Like I have tried that battery one, and I never have excellent success with it. I have mediocre. Oh yeah, I have all kinds of problems every time I've tried it. And I've played with higher salinities, like switching the diodes so they're on the right one, everything.
You might be using the wrong battery.
I'm using a little, like, what is it, the 6-volt camping battery you put in a lantern.
And you're having, we'll have to figure out what's happening. But yeah, it should be pretty easy. But yeah, ferric chloride's great as well. Don't let the baby drink it.
Maybe.
Just got to wash your mouth out with the Windex afterwards to
right.
neutralize it.
Did you have any other competitors for number 3?
That's the outro.
Yeah, Chris, you just came up with our outro.
Don't let babies drink ferric chloride.
Awesome. Yay.
If you do, hit it with Windex.
All right, so you said hit it with Windex, and my brain immediately went to you just nailing a baby in the head with a bottle of Windex, not drinking it.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Yeah.
Thrown weapon.
That's what I meant.
Did you have any other possible number 3s, by the way? Or were this pretty easy?
Yeah. I mean, like Josh said and everyone said, it's really hard because like I was just going through my folder of things I've done over the years and like, damn, that's cool. Damn, that's cool. And like half the stuff I've done, I don't have photos of because a lot of the stuff I do is just like custom one-off commissions for people. And I don't ever remember to like take a picture of it before I send it off to them. But I think the one that was closest to being in third was I was helping out with this show in 2013 called Asylum. And it had Prince Nuada from Hellboy 2 in it. So it was fully done up leather cuirass front and back in this like highly laminated design so that I could get all these like little individual elements. So like it started off as like a piece of split leather and then all these design elements cut out of split leather glued on top of it, and then a thin piece of like cowhide over that and just glued down and creased down so it made all those little risers.
Yeah, because it looks molded. It looks really good.
Yeah, no, it was nuts. It was a lot of fun. You got to make sure that top layer is really stretchy leather though, so you can kind of like get it into every crease. But that was a lot of fun.
I want the same thing, but for my waist. I'm saying.
The collar or
the...
Yeah, kind of.
Yes. All right, so that segue on to number 2. So Colton, you're up. You're number 2.
Hey, it's like He-Man.
Oh, it's over here. There it is.
Oh, do you want to? Let me blow you up here. Hold on. I always forget how to do this.
Stanley, no.
There you go.
Okay, here it is. So I'm so bad with this. There we go. This was this is like the first piece I made after I met Warbear, actually. So I've been making my own stuff for, I mean, like I've said, a long time. And then I came over here and he's just like, wait, what are you doing? You gotta fit that up better. You gotta do that. Gotta weight these things a little better. And it's still horrible when it comes to like balance and the taper on anything. I didn't grind these like nearly far enough. My seam on there is not good.
It's stitched though, isn't it?
No, this one's not stitched. I didn't start that until later. It's butted up, but like it's got a decent gap. And I'm just like, it's not great. But it just
tell us why you like it.
I love it because it's like my first one. That's I don't know. It's just really fun to come over and like learn kind of the ways of how things should actually fit together and how you should actually peen everything and how you should get your wood grips on there nice and I don't know. Just a lot of little techniques came from this, and then I went back and like applied the techniques to this, and I didn't apply them very well, but it worked out. To the fact that, like, I mean, it looks good just sitting here. So I guess that's where we're at. Just a lot of really fun memories with this one, I guess.
Yeah. Did you keep the peen clean on that one?
It's not super clean. It's way too much material.
That looks good though. Yeah, it looks good.
It's way too much material. I had no idea. I did it hot, so it worked. But yeah, like it. Yeah, there's a lot of struggles on this. But
I remember when we went over like stuff. Oh my, it's heavy.
It's heavy.
Yeah. It's heavy.
That's a lot coming from Josh.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, distal taper, who needs that shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that when he came over, we were going over how to do grips and how to do tight fits and all that good stuff and little peening techniques and such like that. And then he brought this over like the next weekend, and it kind of blew me out of the water. And I was like, oh, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? You know what I mean? And like the whole like the V fuller and it's just like really nice tapering on it grinds on it. And then like nice even bends, and then this little like choker part right here.
I like that part. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Really nice.
Yeah, and that's like a secondary piece that just like a ferrule comes in there and chokes over the blade like a clamshell.
Yeah, I've done a couple of those.
He did a ridiculously good job. Cool. And then if you look, he even went into the trouble of like shaping that internal material instead of just doing like just a divot like a dovetail like anyone else would do. He came in and fanned it, which was really interesting. That's what I knew. Like Colton was a special kind of monster.
Yeah. So, Thomas, you notice anything about those fullers? So those are two fullers into one.
Oh
so
yeah.
One of Thomas's first blades that he got from me, I did a full longsword with two fullers into one, just like that.
Yep.
So never want to do it again. But it was cool because I did it all in the mill, and yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
That's insane.
You say that because there's so many big ideas I had when I first got into sword making, just like Thomas has gone through, I'm sure, and Colton, where you're like, ooh, I've got so many things I'm definitely going to try. And then you try it once and you realize how incredibly painful of a pain in the ass that is. And you're like, I'm never going to do that again. There's no way. Which one of these are my examples coming up.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, when you say that, where you're like, oh, I did that. And then I didn't do it ever again because that sucked.
Yep.
So Colton, I got a question on that one because that I think it's an amazing blade visually. I like all the lines and everything in it. Now, when you did the wait, if you don't have to hold it. So when you did the tang going through the ring pommel, how did you get it to flare like that? If you put the ring pommel through it first, because it had to go through one side before going out the other, but it's got that like
it
wasp
does
waist.
It just barely fit. Like
that's
so.
Somebody had to say it.
Yeah.
So like it's grabbing just barely biting in on those two corners.
Gotcha.
So again, I'm not actually sure if it's like this thing looks good, but that's about where it's ending.
So where the notch is, you're relying more on compression from the peen and
precisely
the wood to keep it in line.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So it's like it does bite in, but not a lot. So would I do it like this again? I probably wouldn't, but it does look cool. So
Yeah.
there we go.
Super neat.
I think the guard is the standout of that piece personally.
Yeah.
So there's been a couple times where I've considered like literally just taking this back apart and putting a longer, bigger blade on it. Because I'm like, the guard is large enough, it could fit.
That's basically an arming sword.
It is.
Like,
It's an arming sword with a short blade.
It's the arming
So I'm
sword
like,
of omens.
I would shorten up the grip, bigger blade, bigger ring, and I'm like, it'd be pretty awesome, except for at this point, I just like it so much, so I'll just make a new one, I guess.
Yeah,
But
right. So
Matching set, man. That'd be amazing.
It'd be pretty
Yeah, there you
cool.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Awesome. There we go. All right. Thomas, number 2.
Nice.
I remember this one.
Yep. So this is my first ever piece. And I actually do want to go back to it because I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
That's what she said.
That's going to get away from us here.
Or he said.
Yeah,
and that's what they said.
Equal opportunity here. But yeah, this is it's what it was. It was my first piece, and it's one of the few pieces that it's another one that, you know, I made it, I finished it, and I sold it, and it's probably the only one that I don't regret selling, but I wish I had sold it to somebody that I knew was going to use it, so I can see it getting used. Because I mean, it's just a fun design, right? Like,
Yeah. So he
really
when he
cool.
said, "Hey, here's the first blade I want to do," I was like, "Are you sure?"
yeah, I remember that. There was that
that's
very
not
distinct
easy.
moment of like, huh.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I've
but-
also heard
Is
that
that
same
right?
speech before from
But he-
Fields.
Yeah. So I was hoping we start a little easier. No, he knocked it out of the park. It looks great.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, that was another one where I was like, "Are you sure you want to sell it?" So,
And like I said, like this was a blade that I never wanted for myself, but I definitely wanted to see it getting used more.
yeah.
In hindsight too, like I don't think I tapered it as well as I could have.
It's small.
Go
enough,
figure,
but-
right?
Yeah.
But
I like it a lot because it kind of looks like a guy celebrating.
Exactly.
Having an extremely large blade.
Jumping up, doing a split.
really long
If it's like a flawless thing, or if he's just got shitting out a blade. I mean,
That's
I
the
love it.
whole purpose.
It's my favorite.
Yeah.
yeah,
He's spinning tails.
stick figure. It's like a stick figure.
I love it. It's like a nod back to the old Celtic blades.
Yeah, you
Right,
guys.
Yeah,
guessed
well, I
it.
was actually going to ask, like, does this have a specific style that this is after,
Yes, it does.
or
The old bronze blades kind of
right?
deal.
Like,
yeah, kind of a little bit of that
Okay.
bronze blade, but with like that hint of fantasy in it too, with the base of it.
You guys missed when we had the Sharpie marker face on there. That was good.
That's right, we did.
I'm not the first. I'm not the first to see that. Okay, good.
awesome.
You're the
Pass
first
it
to
in.
call out to it though.
Yeah. All right.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Oh,
Sketchworks.
Josh,
So
number 2.
yeah, this one was important to me because one thing I've collected over the years is sketchbooks, like art books that encompass all the art of a movie or a video game or a comic book series, and they just are just a giant collection of drawings. So I've got a ton of sketchbooks, and sometime in 2010, 2009 maybe. I finally sat down and started going through all my drawings, digitizing them, cleaning them up, putting in formats. And as an artist that started in like a comic book-esque medium with pen and ink, pencil, pen and ink on paper, and I never really got around to digital stuff, and finally learned digital as a form of coloring, which means I still do a sketch of blue lead, and then I ink a drawing, and then I scan it, and then I put it in Photoshop and color it. So I guess it's like most of an old school blend of art with just a new age way of coloring. And I'd really wanted my own art book for quite a while, and I did one as just like a goof off in college in 2007, 2008, and it was just like a tiny book with like 10 drawings in it, and it gave me a fair level of excitement for something so small and just useless because it was like 10 drawings. It was not worth what I paid to have it made. And then again, I finally just scanned all my drawings in, found out how much of a pain in the ass it is to go through and like make a template for every single page with your live area, your bleed area, sizing it up, making sure everything's the right DPI, everything's the right, combining it into like a giant zip file of TIFF images, all that good stuff. I really learned a lot doing it as far as graphic design goes. So, I went through and I made, I think this book is like 200 something pages of my original art. And it's done through chapters. And the first one is just like random graphic design gigs I've had where I've had to throw a design images on. And then it's like a steampunk video game I helped on. And then original characters that I've designed and stories I've written. And then a bunch of stuff. And you can see a bunch of weirdness on the cover here. On the top, like top right, you see just a sperm with gritted teeth and ass arms. And then right under him, you see this orc that has a lion baltius with his dong with a red sock kind of deal coming out the lion's mouth. You've got a buff guy you've got a buff guy fighting a snake, which is obviously a masturbation reference. You know, I was going through a lot, and I'm still going through a lot as an artist and a person that I'm just loading into books. And then you've got my dad in there. My dad, I helped co-write a storyline with my friend called, or it's like Aesop's Fable, Country Mouse, City Mouse. And I designed Country Mouse and some of their family. And the Country Mouse is in the bottom left. And he's got like a big straw hat. And then my dad I drew has like a handlebar whiskers mustache because my dad was a giant of a man and a chubby redneck guy. And he's got a fur pattern that looks like a farmer's tan with a rope tied around his belly so his gut can hang over it. And I had a lot of fun with the cover, just assembling just a collage of all my artwork. And then making an actual like 200 some odd page sketchbook.
Yeah. So how many people here can say they've been published?
Not me.
Say that. So,
I was a published poet in 7th grade with one poem.
You wouldn't think it with this weird guy and the NASA guy in here that I'd be the published one.
yeah.
That's the beauty of the internet.
Yeah. So can people buy this now, Josh?
Yeah, if you find me behind 7-Eleven on Tuesday, usually if I'm at conventions, I take I think I have like 10 of them left. I've got one on my shelf that I signed to me because I'm an idiot. And then the rest of them. The thing is since it is me, a lot of the images in here have gigantic dicks in them. So it's like an 18 or over. If you want to buy one, seek me out, and I will sell you one for like $25 or whatever. But there are going to be some R-rated images in that book.
If you're lucky, there are.
How quickly could I find it? Pretty, it's right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
I've been debating on doing a book for modern sword making. Yeah, that's in the pipeline maybe. So
Yeah.
I have an outline of it. So
I was thinking it would be very cool. Again, we had a Sterling Armory like graphic novel like this. Graphic novel is a strong term. Like a graphic catalog of just us and a little story behind the making of the piece kind of deal.
That'd be
yeah, even a calendar.
A graphic novel too, though.
But we've all sold most of our stuff, so
right. Wouldn't that be cool to do like a calendar or something every year?
That would be cool. A calendar where like each month is a piece of ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then us in like a bathing suit of some kind.
I would like a little.
Nothing but the sword blocking the view.
Now you're thinking, Chet.
Yep.
I knew exactly where you were going.
Yeah.
Good man. You
This,
get me.
this is why we're.
The Men of Sterling Armory's swords calendar.
Emphasis on the swords.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our peens are clean. Come and see.
Yeah. We all look like Thomas's Celtic sword.
I don't like what that means. I don't want to hear
All
that
right.
or think it again.
All right. So mine, I kind of had to throw this one in here just because of the significance of what this did for me. But I almost I had some titanium Wolverine claws. I had a couple other, like the Snake Eyes sword I did was also pretty unique. But the Captain America shield ultimately, and I was going to pull the one down here and just show it live, but I don't
All your stuff
that
fall
down.
over.
Yeah.
You're right. So the Cap shield I did. So when the first, when I knew the first movie was coming out with Chris Evans, I actually thought, like, hey, before any images were out, I was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if instead of having a red, white, and blue shield, if the white was like a brushed steel or aluminum? So I actually made that shield, and then sure enough, the movie comes out. Actually, images leaked prior to the movie coming out, and the shield was exactly that. And I was like, wow, it was a lot more detailed. I think I hear a baby. It was a lot more. The shield in the film was a lot more detailed. But it was awesome. So I started making some shields based off of the movie design, and then I actually got in trouble. So Marvel sent me a cease and desist saying, "Hey," and I wasn't selling, like I wasn't trying to make profits off them or anything because it's not my IP, right? But I was making a few for me and for some friends, and they said, "Hey, don't do that." And I said, "Okay." So I stopped making them, and they said, "Wait, we want you to make them for us." So I
think
I was like, okay. So I actually made a bunch of shields for Marvel, for mainly the. So if you go to San Diego Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con, if you're at the Marvel booth and you see a shield on display, it might be one of mine. It most likely is, actually. So yeah, I got a chance to make some for them, and then I had, after that, a lot of people come up to me to want me to make shields, and I'm like, hey, I can't. I'm legally, obligated to only do it for Marvel. So a couple of actors from Marvel asked, and I got to go to some of the film sets and everything. It was fantastic. So everything that came out of the shield stuff was great. So it's kind of what helped me think and really start thinking of, hey, with your swords and all your own IP, if you keep working on it, it can be its own business, and it doesn't have to just be a hobby. And that's kind of, the Cap Shield really pushed that for me. So yeah, that's Cap Shield. So yay. There's one hanging in the Pentagon right now too. That's also one that I made.
Really nice.
Is it bugged?
Nice and subtle.
I don't know if it's bugged. I didn't bug it. But yeah. All right. On to Chet.
All right. So this was the very first sword I ever made. This was completely just made from scraps found around Chris's garage back when I started learning.
Look how good it looks.
There.
Yeah. And I just absolutely love everything about this blade. Now, it's not as wide as it looks. Unlike the rest of the guys here, I do not make gigantic swords. I have no interest. I am short. I can't run a 36-inch blade through a grinder. I'll never make it. So all my blades are like 24 inches or shorter. I also
pretty small one, right?
Yeah. This one was probably only about 22. Most of my swords clock in at like 21 to 23. I'm a big fan of short swords. I started out as a performer fighting, and when I fight, I usually use two weapons. So I kind of like to make something that I know. I make something that I would use most of the time. The fittings on this one were both brass with the pommel and the guard. The guard was also way different than I envisioned it, because I started with this much bigger piece of brass, and it was originally just a straight bar, and it got that curve because I wasn't very good at grinding yet. So I would just keep like, oh, that's too much. Well, let's see, what can I make it look now? So it kind of got this like interesting rounded profile. So it's actually more of like, it's more tubular in profile than being rectangular. Yeah, I know. I love that it kind of has this like Xiphos leaf blade. It's a little bit shorter. You don't see a whole lot of it. I also love that it was a ring pommel, because I personally like them. And the big personal touch about this one was that oh, I'm an idiot. I just thought of one of the things I should add to my list. Anyways, so the hilt is wrapped in a piece of leather from the hide I used to make the coat I wore to my wedding. When I got married, it was a big pirate wedding. So I made this giant full-length leather pirate's captain's coat for the wedding, which is what I probably should have included on my list, maybe. But the hilt is wrapped in that. So a lot of things came together. I also love blue and gold as a color scheme, blue, gold, and like silver. So it was just like ideal. This is like the same thing as Thomas, though. Like, I designed this for stage combat, and it's one of the few blades that I've sold that I have no idea who it went to.
Yeah.
You sold your wedding coat wrapped sword?
I still got more leather. Don't worry about it.
Okay, you got more. You're good.
It took 2 hides. I've still got scraps all over the place.
You know what I just realized, Chet?
What?
That is still the only brass ring pommel that we've ever done.
And it's thick too.
It is. But we've never done another brass ring pommel. I think we need to change that because it does look really good.
Oh yeah, I need to head on down to Alro and get some more brass pieces.
Yeah.
Right now, everything I'm making is just stainless steel.
Yeah. Well, same. Right. So.
We do
All
live
right.
in Florida, so it is understandable.
Yeah, well, I thought you had that one. I forgot that you sold it.
That got sold. That got sold the first year we had a booth at Hogtown.
Oh, that's right. His one
there.
quick, too, didn't it?
Yeah, and I wasn't there that day. I'd had to stay home or something. And you're like, oh, we sold it. I was like, oh, who'd it go to? Oh, no idea. Oh, all right. Like the rest of them have gone to performers. Like I know around the states, I can track them and see them used. But that one is off in the wilderness somewhere.
Fair.
Or what are you guys talking about? Colton, you need to drink more. Is that what you're saying?
I was literally just saying I'm gonna have to drive home after this, so
Drink more.
Maybe not.
I can't do too much.
Yeah.
But the bottle is gone. So
Speaking of Colton, we're out to number ones now.
okay.
Oh, you have
So
it.
I've still
Oh,
got this one too.
Hold on.
Make me bigger.
Make my monster grow.
Okay.
Oh, that's penis.
I didn't realize. I thought that was. Holy crap!
I didn't think about that.
It's not an axe. I call this my bearded warhammer.
I thought it was an axe too.
It's
Deceptive.
not. It's chunky. Here, hold on.
Yeah.
Look at the edge on that.
No, it's steel.
That's steel. Holy crap!
Computer
it's
cuts
a-
out.
I thought it was an axe. Yeah.
No.
It's
So
an axe hammer.
it's my skull crusher.
Love it.
And
Love it more.
That's kind of why I love it. It's like literally, it was like 4:00 on a day, I don't know, a year or two ago, and it's just like the idea hit me, and I couldn't not build it right then. So like I literally just like, oh my gosh, ran over and built it. I've never seen anything else like this anywhere. Maybe you guys have. I have no idea.
No.
But like just I love how it just came together. I built this thing in like I don't even know an hour. Like I finished
How
it
much
that
does it
night.
weigh?
So that's the thing. It's actually hollow.
Oh, is it?
So
okay. So it's
it's a 3/4 inch thick steel plate running down the front, and then they're 1/4 inch steel pieces going across it, and then I wedged out a piece for the back and the front of it as well, and then it's on a piece of tubing that I just smashed down and welded it all together and ground it out. So it's hollow. It is still very heavy. What do you
yeah,
guess?
it's not
I
that
don't know.
hollow.
No, like I mean, it's half the weight.
It's probably about 6 pounds.
Somewhere in there. So it's hefty.
Like if you threw it at someone, they'd go to sleep pretty quick. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You should do all your sword peens and dagger peens with that.
Oh, I should. That's
Yeah.
a good idea. Well, and so like, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of a unique piece that just
Very
happened one day, and it's been like my favorite little thing ever. So, like, this has been on my kit whenever I go anywhere. It's always on my belt. Everybody's just like, "What on earth is that?"
Yeah. We should take it
Nobody
to
has
the
to
axe
say.
throwing and just throw it at the wall.
Just knock
Target
the wall
shatters.
over.
Below the target, there's just dust and debris everywhere.
Yeah, that'd be.
Yeah.
Take it to a job site, hammering in nails and shit.
Yeah, totally. Demo crew, man. Just
Yeah.
go take something out. So there it is.
I bet you
It's
a lot of
just one
people
of
would
my favorite little things I made. I don't know. It speaks to me. Honestly, so I have no skill with the sword. I love making them. I love holding them. But like compared to you guys, like I got nothing. I'd be much better off with a big old hammer. Problem. give me a stick. I'd be better off with a stick than a sword. Sadly.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So hammer.
Oh, yeah, see the sadness in Josh.
I'm so sad. Well, it saddens me. You guys got to teach me the way of actual sword fighting.
Railroad tie Warhammer, and that's probably.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'd do it.
I think we could do that.
Yeah.
Hey, you have Chad there too, who can teach you the sword, all the sword stuff better than anyone.
Oh yeah, no, I need to go over and learn some stuff from him.
Yeah. All right, so that was Colton's number one. Did you have any runner-ups for one, or was that it?
Oh, I don't know. So, so many. We've already passed an hour. We'll continue.
Oh, we have. Shoot, I haven't even looked. Sorry about that. Next, Thomas.
Hey.
One of my favorite blades still.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, so this was the one those who follow our page, we did recently. It's my latest one, so it's kind of like, my number 2 being my first one, and this being my most recent one, is really kind of like an evolution of where I've come. Now, in fairness to like, Chris helped immensely with this one, but this is also one of the first ones we got from our other heat treat batch that let us go bigger. And
What she said.
Waiting for that one.
We shouldn't be allowed in the same room. This is bad.
Terrible idea.
Yes, you absolutely should be. Absolutely. Oh, one day it will happen. But yeah, no. So like, this is, like I was saying, it's kind of just the evolution of what I've worked on, and that's one of the reasons I like it so much. It's that big sword I want while being like as nimble. Hold on.
Let's explain exactly how big this thing is.
Okay.
So this is.
Continue.
So I originally designed a blade profile because I wanted to recreate a piece from the Met up in New York, which is this blade is the exact same profile, but we did the handle, or Thomas wanted the handle much more intricate, and it looks a lot better. But the blade the overall size is 60 inches.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Wow. 5 feet.
And
6 inches.
Yeah, the blade itself is I'm forgetting. Is it 50? No, it's 40, 49?
It is
I
a number.
Can't remember.
It's a number.
It's a number.
Yeah, but it's exactly the one in the Met. So I'm making the sister blade to this right now. That'll be at Combat Con. But it's much plainer than this one because the one in the Met is a very plain sword. But yeah. So sorry, didn't mean to steal your thunder there.
No, you're good. You're good. Like, and it's actually so that sword in my corner is that blade. Let me actually grab it.
Yeah, go grab it.
Grab it.
And while he's grabbing that too, I have to say Thomas ground this entire thing himself, and this is not an easy blade to grind because it's fucking huge.
I gotta put my hair back in.
And he did it, and it's a phenomenal. The grain, the grind lines and everything were super straight, and he did a fantastic job on it. So let me see if I can
make it bigger.
Yeah,
not us.
Pommel Design is also one of my favorite parts that we did. So we came up with the design work, and Chris definitely helped bring it all together, just with his handiwork. But like the double V look, and then it's hard to see in the camera, but this has it's indented on both sides, so it kind of has like an extra like hollowed out V going into it as well. Then of course the wire wrap, everything came together to make this just a beautiful blade. Like the guard itself has this kind of like bow tie flare to help bring out some of the weight from it. Just all these little things. Yeah, just everything we could to kind of get the weight. Well, like I think it's
it's exactly the same weight as the
ounce. No, I thought it was like just like a 0.1 ounce over the original.
Oh, like it might be like like
we got it right there, and like
a fraction of an ounce over.
Like this isn't a sharp, so we were like, if we ever sharpen it, it's there.
Yeah, and the balance point's the same. Everything's the same. So yeah, the pommel is actually from. So the one in the Met has a sister blade. Now I'm forgetting. I don't know if it's Leeds or the Wallace collection. I think it's Leeds. And he liked that pommel, so we're like, all right, well, we can do that pommel on this blade, and it just worked. So yeah, pretty cool piece.
Too well.
Yeah, and he's used it in a fight show, and I'm trying to remember how to get back.
I know, right?
So yeah, if you look at my personal, a normal longsword, because right now, if you just look at the image, it looks like a normal longsword. But when you put a normal longsword next to it, and you realize the longsword is the length of just the blade of this sword, then you're like, oh shit, that's a big blade. So,
yeah, I need one of those.
Impressive.
Most impressive.
So if next time we do the laser cut blanks of those, I'll just do a couple extra and make sure to leave them out there in Utah for you guys.
Absolutely.
All right. The other cool thing, and I keep going back to this. So the whole profile was measured from the original piece in the Met, pretty much I think it was what I do every 3 inches. I measured it just to make sure we got the profile proper, and the heat treats. So we have to do a little call out to the heat treat place in Utah here because they got that thing precisely straight, and that's a massive blade.
Yeah.
I expected it to be warped. I just automatically expected it to be warped. So, but it wasn't. It came out perfect, and there's 2 of them in a row that came out straight. So hopefully they can keep that up because it was great.
Absolutely, yeah. Massive shout out to those guys.
Thank you, Danielle, at Industrial Heat Treat.
There we go. I was forgetting the name. I was like, oh crap, what is it? Industrial Heat Treat. There we go. Thank you, Danielle. All right. Next is Josh.
Oh,
shit. Talking about big swords.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
That's a big
1,000 times heavier than the one we just looked at.
and confirm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, the weird angle, but I had to rotate the image.
That's cool. No worries. Yeah. And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where you're first given the tools and machination to execute whatever machinations you have about fantasy large swords. So you do it not thinking about the consequences, repercussions it's going to have on your body, your tools, your time, all that good stuff. You're just like, oh shit, I'm going to make this. So, and then again, I've had a couple number ones. There was that like blue grip sword with the secondary choke that's all bronze. That almost made my first cut. I really wanted that, but at the same time, I picked these as far as what they represent, not only what the pieces are. Whereas the first one was like a representation of an entire costume and a character that just kind of worked right then and there. And the second one was a representation of all my art collected in one piece and something that I collect and that I've made that I collect. And this was no different. I chose this as number 1 because not only was it a giant sword that I made that pushed me, it was also representative of a storyline I wrote for Evermore when I worked there. The second storyline, maybe third storyline I got to write there was of a storyline called the Pureborn Reclaimers. And there was 2 main weapons. It was Restgiver and Thirst Seeker. Thirst Seeker was a bifork with a pike at the end that was made to put and stab a vampire's neck and bleed them out and then turn it around and jab them in the chest. And this one, Restgiver, was Tristan Pureborn's weapon, and it was his great-grandfather's parade sword that wasn't made to actually fight anything. It was just too damn big because, as you can see, this one is a broken sword. So in the story, he takes it into a cave fighting underworld vampires, and he can't swing it because it's like 7.5 foot long. So he ends up in a fit of rage, stabbing it into a wall and breaking it off with his elbow, and then fighting with a broken sword that's much shorter. And I say much shorter. Right now it stands at 5 foot.
Yeah, you have this.
Pommel is yep, I got it in the garage downstairs. I guess I should.
I'll go get it.
I'll talk if you go grab it. You know where it is?
Yeah.
Right there in the corner.
I got it.
So, I designed this to be a broken sword, and I got the profile cut at a laser cut center that had 1/2-inch steel laying around in plate, and I was like, cool.
Pause for a sec.
Yeah,
1/2 inch.
Half inch
Just laying around.
So
yes.
Do you have the weight? Have you measured the weight on that thing?
The weight on it is 26.7 pounds.
Oh man, that's long.
It's always bigger when you see it. So people see it in that picture. Here it is.
Yeah.
Live.
All right, hold on.
Yeah, this is back. Yeah. Battle Cub here.
That's not it.
Me again.
Switch them off. Switch them up. There. That's the actual sword.
Well, so I wanted to point out in the photo, there's your shoe in the corner, and it throws it off. It makes it look tiny. It is
It's
freaking massive.
you can. So 1/2-inch steel. So
my
yeah,
gosh.
so
That's
I did this based off of the. So it was funny because I made the Thirst Seeker prop, the spear, and I was like, yep, no problem, and I made it really quick. And then I didn't have this one made, but I planned on it, so I had the blade cut, and it just kind of sat in the garage collecting dust. And then a year later, they were like, hey, Warbear, do you remember that storyline you did with blah blah blah? And I said, yeah. And they're like, we really want to do a prop reveal this weekend of actual Restgiver. And I was like, fuck, man. If you give me 2 days off to work on it, I will do it because it's going to take me a couple of days to grind the profile, everything in. So I had to hold the sword, which started off as the blade blank itself was 20 pounds. And I had to pour it against the grinder like that to get the first bevels cut into it all 4 times after doing a ball and mill, a half-inch ball and mill all the way down. I'm sorry, 3/4.
Yeah,
3/4.
That's like 3/4.
3/4, yeah. And then this sucker is like 5 inches and about an inch and a half thick. And it's all peened too. This is how clean the peen is on this one.
Yeah. So for the audience members watching, just as a reference, a heavy sword for us to start grinding is 4 pounds, 4 to 5 pounds. This is 20 freaking pounds. Like the whole blade is what, 30 something pounds?
Yeah, 26.7.
26.7 pounds.
So I had to. That's why this sleeve is stupid tight, and this sleeve is really loose. I had to curl it the entire time, just running up and down the grinder, and then doing the same thing for this. The pommel itself, I think, was like 3 pounds when I first started grinding it out.
That's as much as an entire sword.
I made it in 2 days. I was super happy with it, and and then peening a half-inch round diameter rod was a pain in the ass. But I did it, and I was happy with it, and it represents, of course, not only a giant sword that I made that I'm like, oh, no sword I ever do is going to be that painful to do again, for starters. Second, it was like, as a kid growing up creating different worlds and characters and all that good stuff, I finally got to do it as a paid thing, as like a career. I got to actually go, I get to dream up like a storyline and then make something that I wrote real. So, and then they did a big reveal at they did a wizard spell, I guess, and it brought the sword to life, and they held it. And it was hilarious because all the actors are just that. They're actors.
They can't.
Not all of them were as stocky as I am. So it was, a 140-pound wizard trying to hold a 30-pound sword and talk about it. So that was great.
That's is that recorded? I hope that's recorded.
Somewhere it is recorded and probably on Facebook, but I never got to actually see it. I was there that night, but I probably had to do other stuff security-wise running around the park, so I didn't get to be there for its initial thing.
Sad.
I'm glad you have it now, though. That's awesome.
Yeah. I made sure that I paid for the entire thing, and I did it, on some time off, so I could keep it because it was something it was a prop I knew I was going to want for myself.
Yeah,
right.
And I knew if they hung it anywhere, it would eventually explode and break and kill 40 people,
and then take down the wall.
You had a couple of them there that were like that, though, right?
Yep.
Well, not that heavy, but close.
Yeah. This is to date the heaviest and biggest sword I've made. I really, maybe one day when I'm smarter about building stuff, I'll make the full size one that's not broken off and do the entire full length sword.
That'd be really cool.
Because
so you distal taper
it would be about 60 pounds. It'd probably be about 60 pounds.
Yep.
If I didn't distal taper it.
Even
Which
if
I'm
you
not
did.
gonna. Why would you?
Awesome. All right.
I would like to point out when was this? A few weeks ago, you and Chris and Warbear were out front in the yard swinging this thing around.
Oh yeah.
It is a workout.
It was quite the workout, and they handed it over to me, and I'm just a little guy compared to these two, and that did not go very well.
Yeah, we were doing like Montante forms.
Yeah, we were just,
these guys are out there doing all their forms, and I'm just like, I pick it up, and I'm like, I'm gonna stab myself in the back of the neck.
Yep. Peace.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, look at his shoe in the corner, though.
Yeah.
The shoe makes it look like
weird.
That's That's Lord of the Rings.
Totally. It just looks tiny, and then you hold it. It's like, oh my gosh, it's massive.
It's a Hobbit sword. Yeah.
A good sword is like what, 2 pounds? So this is the equivalent of like
a great sword.
10 swords.
10 swords.
Holding 10 swords in one. Good times.
But it is a great workout sword, so you could sell it as that. If you want to work out.
It doesn't have to be sharp. If you swing it and whatever they do, they're done.
Has a very guts feel to it. Yeah.
You're killed.
Doesn't matter.
Yep.
Right.
Stay out of the way.
Oh, on to mine. I have mine as well. So this
Enlarge yourself.
Enhance.
Enhance.
Yeah, I think.
Enhance.
Keep forgetting how to do it. Here we go.
You keep bringing it to us.
So this is
Something's so
my
pretty.
personal piece, and it's been on the. If you watch Sword Talk, it's been on here often. But yeah, it's definitely my number one. This is the fourth incarnation of my personal piece. So what I do is when I learn something new in sword making, and I really like it, I always experiment first on my own blade. So this has a lot of firsts for me. So it was my first wire wrap of any blade. So I learned a lot doing the wire wrap, and this is the first that I ever did it on. When I not this iteration, but the iteration before, no, I'm sorry, 3 iterations before was the first time I did metal risers on a piece. And that's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. And then an iteration before this actually had a black Stingray Grip, which was also my first time doing the Stingray Grip. And that ended up flowing to a couple other blades I made after. But this current one has buffalo horn, so the entire grip, even wire wrapped, is a giant piece of buffalo horn. It's actually 2 big scales that I hollowed out, and that's the reason for the metal risers, is to keep that all together. And then this profile, the blade profile, was one that I really liked, and you don't see it much, and it's a Type 18 with a massive ricasso, and you just don't see that often. It's not common at all historically, but it did exist. And so yeah, this is an amalgamation of all of my favorite museum pieces thrown into one piece. And it's my personal blade, and it's been used many times, as you can tell with the edges all gnarled up. So I think what I'm going to do next with this guy is actually clean up the edges and actually sharpen this guy, so he'll be my dedicated cutter, and I might cut with it at Combat Con. And then, so I don't foresee myself doing much stage work anymore. So, and if I do, I'll make another one. So, but yeah, I might sharpen this puppy up and cut with it. And yeah, this is by my bed every night. It's always my favorite piece that I've made. So
Nice.
didn't really have a competition there for that one. So when I heard the topic, and so this topic came from somebody asking us. I can't remember who it was, so apologies for whoever it was who asked. But I was like, oh, that's a good one. But that jumped in my head immediately. So yeah, that's my favorite piece.
My question: do you have the first 3 versions? Still?
I have no.
No.
I don't. I have. So before I sold them off, I did change them, so they weren't my sword anymore. So the first version was actually a Roman Spada. It was a version of this, so it's kind of a weird progression, but it's kind of as my favorite pieces went, as I keep changing my opinion on what I like. So what's remained the same is the coin, and then the black, gold, and steel color frame. And so originally that was a Roman Spada with the coin in the guard instead of in the pommel. And then it went to an arming sword, which pretty much looks like this, but as an arming sword. And instead of having a wire wrap, let me correct that. So I had done a spiral wire wrap before, where it's wire spiraled in with leather. I had done that in the past, but I had never done a full half wire wrap like this before. So this is the first time I did that. And what the heck did I don't remember when I made this, but I think I made this in this particular version. I think I made this in 2012. I think around that time period.
I'm not there.
Yeah. If we go back and look at Facebook pics, we could probably figure out when I made it. Yeah, then it was an arming sword version that had a spiral leather wrap with a spiral wire wrapped into it, but same color scheme. And that was the first one that I did.
2013 or 14.
Was this one?
Because I think I was in your garage while you were making the ferrules for it. You were bending them around wood. And you had buffalo horn in too. for that one. Yeah,
that was a different. No, I know which one you're talking about. That was actually a different piece.
Gotcha.
But we're on the same time frame though. But yeah, the arming sword one was the first one where I did the metal risers, and then I did another longsword version where the wire wrap portion was actually a solid piece of stainless. So very much like Josh's bronze one right now. And that one, before I sold that one, I changed everything on it so it didn't look like this sword anymore. And I sold that one. And then there was one more in between, and then this one. The one in between was I didn't keep very long because I wasn't happy with it. So, but yeah, that's mine. So
That's awesome.
And then the last number one, which is probably the coolest on here.
Come here.
And we've had Chet on mute because his background is a little loud.
So my favorite thing I've ever made are my kids. Here.
We're gonna say your kids aren't on there.
There's, so,
Hey,
that's
kids.
my 4-year-old Chester Scott.
Wait.
What happened to my bed?
Nope.
Yeah, that's your bed, buddy.
There we go.
There we go. This is Chester Scott the fifth. And he's down. And this is the newest member, Boudica. She's 5 days old.
Look at that.
Oh, that's adorable.
She's been chilling in my lap. All right, buddy.
Well, tiny
Go with
shoes.
mama. Yeah, she's a type 18. But if you'll cut back to the crib, all right, bud. If you'll cut back to the crib, this is the favorite thing I've ever made. I got a lot of my start in furniture work. Most of what I learned how to make over my lifetime has just been me trying things, and that's entirely what this is. This one of my dreams was always to build the crib that my kids would sleep in. So that's what I made here. It's a fully convertible crib. This is its first form. It has ultimate form. It's currently in its toddler bed, so it doesn't have the bars on the front. It's just lowered and has the mattress on the ground so that a toddler could sleep in it. It's also made so that it can be extended out.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Hi guys.
The beauty of children, and it's also made so that when the kids are older, as it currently stands, it can be extended out so that it becomes the footboard, and then it has enough room for a full-size mattress in there.
Oh, cool.
So
I didn't know that.
it's basically big enough, and it's designed so that it can handle anywhere from the time they're young up into like their teens, if they still wanted it. But right now, it's going to be converted back into this form when Boudica's old enough to go hang out in that room with him in the nursery.
I didn't realize. So I was looking closer at it. The planks in the back are diagonally set in there. Is that
Yep.
right?
Yeah. So, like I said, my son's name is Chester Scott the Fifth, Roman numeral 4, 5.
Oh yeah.
So I made them all be in the background.
Very nice.
Awesome.
What kind of wood is it?
So
Pine.
it's mostly pine. Some of it's pressure treated. So like this is definitely one of my reclaimed pieces. I built a big old pergola in the back of our house at an old place, but we were renting it. So when we moved, I took it down and took all the wood with me. And this is one of the pieces that got made. So like all of the bars are alternating widths of. They were originally 1x4s that I then rip-sawed down to I think 2 inches and 3 inches wide. They're all set in there with sunk-in screws that have all been plugged so they can't come loose. Using a Krieg jig, it was a really big culmination of a lot of like new wood techniques that I hadn't gotten to do before, and then I stained it and gave it that really nice like distressed distressed wood feel to it. I went over it with like some steel wool and some sandpaper to kind of rough it up and make it look like it was this old inherited family piece.
Awesome. So are the diagonal pieces sitting in grooves, or are they just screwed in flat to flat?
There is a piece of 3/4 MDF behind it that they are just kind of on top of, glued, and then brad nailed down onto.
Awesome. Well, hey, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
I thought of that. It
Yeah.
makes it easy.
Way easier and gives it a little bit more
Awesome.
rigidity.
Yeah, that's true. Good idea. Awesome. I have seen this in person, but I just looked at it quickly because I was in and out pretty quick. Yeah, that's awesome.
Nothing.
Yay!
Yay. And now we're done.
Yeah, so we are at. Oh crap, we're almost at an hour and a half.
Oh, wow.
That's actually a pretty good time. Let me go back to all of us. Thomas, how do I do that? Here we go. Is that right?
I figured it out.
There we go. Yeah, I figured it out.
You did it.
Yeah, that was all of our top 3 favorite pieces. And again, we said we could go beyond swords for this one. We're probably going to do another topic in the future where we just focus on blades, whether it's swords or knives or daggers. But yeah, so hopefully you got a chance to learn, everyone in the audience to learn, hey, we do a lot more than just sword stuff. So, but yeah, all of the work that we do, whether it's carpentry or leather stuff or whatever, all feeds back into all the blades that we make. What are you doing?
We're still talking about how much bigger than Colton and I look in frame. All the time.
Yeah. And for some reason,
He looks like he's like if Harry Potter became a welder and I'm just called Hagrid.
Yeah. So Josh is a big guy. Colton apparently is a lot smaller. In real life, it's not that big of a difference.
In real life, yeah. On digital, Colton's a fifth the size he is in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was our top 3 things that we made. Any other comments, guys, on summing anything up or anything else that you left off that you wanted to talk about?
Well, just that. So our next version of this will be blades, and then
Probably.
in a couple months we need to revisit this because throughout this show, I'm like, I thought of 5 more things I'd love to put on here.
I know.
So,
That's why this is so hard. Yeah. I had a bunch
again in a couple months.
For sure.
So I had like the first Chinese blade that I made, which was accurate to a Chinese blade. Like I had that one on there. I had my first claymore with a massive guard that was machined out of a 3-inch by 2-inch by 12-inch chunk of iron. And I machined it out of the entire, which was crazy. I would never do that again. But I almost put that on here. There's a lot of things I almost put on here, but they're not. So.
Yeah, same. I almost put the cure for diabetes, but I went on Barrett's Field.
Right. Well, I'm gonna put a rocket ship. So
Yeah, rocket.
If Josh Todd ever puts a rocket on the screen, it's going to be a very different thing.
Jeff Bezos has already flown away in it.
Yeah, no, it was a cock rocket.
The cocket.
You got it. Cock rocket.
Yeah. So, well, awesome. Thanks for, again for everyone joining, and I always like seeing everyone's projects and what they're working on, and every time, and this is kind of a personal thing between all of us. I love when we all talk about things we worked on, and I like hearing what everyone's currently working on and where their passions are and stuff. So, yeah, it's it's nice for us to get together and talk. So before we close, quick summations of who you are, outros, all that stuff. We changed our order a little bit. Chet, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So once again, my name is Chet. I do things in leather, steel, or wood, any combination. It's what I love to do. You can find me at Tribal Fox Creations on Instagram or Facebook.
Yep, and that'll be linked below. You can also, if you message Sterling Armory and you want to get a hold of him, he also has direct access to Sterling Armory.
Yep.
Josh is working out here. Yeah, he has a lot of great stuff. I was actually surprised there was a couple swords that you made. I was surprised it didn't make this list, so I'm curious if they'll make a future list.
I did the same thing that Josh did, actually. Is like, I want one that's furniture, I want one that is leather, and I want one that's a blade. So that's what I went with.
Yeah,
Diversify.
awesome.
Yep.
You guys are much more versified than I am. Thomas, you are up in your limited accessibility.
I mean, yeah, no, it's the same story every time, that you're never going to find me. The FBI finally caught the last person who tried.
Don't contact me, I'll contact you.
Yeah.
Social media ninja.
But
Thomas is becoming our big sword guy. So if you want a big sword, probably reach out and ask for.
We'll try.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, Thomas.
Oh, we're still talking about our physical swords, right?
Oh,
Well, I mean, you know.
Thomas has got the grinding wingspan of a pterodactyl.
Yeah. So if you want to reach out to Thomas, Sterling Armory on Facebook, and then the Warbirds, the War Cubs, you guys are up.
I am War Chris at this point in the show.
Are you cosplaying me right now?
Yep.
Oh man, I honestly was confused for a minute there.
Here, I'll hold this up so you can have a bigger chin.
What?
It's still too small.
No, so I'm Colton from Copperthorn. You can find me Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and on Sterling Armory page.
So I got to pause there. I think Chet has me beat on the bigger chin.
Oh, yeah.
So you deleted him.
You just deleted him.
No, the FBI got him finally.
He just
That
deleted
was
him.
not me at all.
Don't lie, Chris.
Talk about competition cuts.
I know. Where did you go? I
You
just
just
deleted
Thanos snap him?
Yeah, he did.
God damn.
He's gone.
That's fucked up.
Well, we'll see if he comes back on before we finish. But
I
yeah,
bet,
no,
his,
Chet.
I bet his kids put a sledgehammer through the modem or something.
That would be
So there he is.
Is he back? Nope.
Nope.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
going on? What happened?
Hey, buddy.
I went to hit Control D to unmute and I accidentally hit Control W and closed out the window.
Well, as I was saying, everyone calls me Chin, and even our good friend Levi was like, I think your chin has been beaten by a different chin.
Can you do a profile off? Are we doing a profile off
That
here?
is, that is the
That's
Chet
There
chin.
he is. Oh my god! Yeah, look at that.
Look,
So, yeah, my poor Chin was like, he thought he was cool, and then he was like, no.
Yeah.
So, Chet's
when I was a
getting
kid, I was often called Clef the Boy Chin Wonder.
Yeah.
But you
Chet
know,
both,
Funny.
both
you got
and
to
I,
learn
buddy.
to use your strengths. Chins are great if you do wrestling because you could just grind it into someone's
gosh,
traps,
yeah.
and then they'll just like they'll curdle up on you.
That's funny that I know exactly.
Use
what
it as a
you're talking
weapon.
Yep.
about.
I'm pretty sure Chet and Chris met at a Renaissance Fair fight, and then Chris was radioactive and bit Chet, and then
Gave him chin-like powers.
gave him chin powers and just made his chin grow a lot bigger
So-
overnight.
My
Seriously,
nickname-
2006.
His chin grew
Yeah.
3 sizes that day.
My nickname at Barry Renfair for the longest time, and still a lot of the old timers still call me this, is the Chin. And then when we went to
We are
Sarasota
the
when Chet was there for
old-timers.
the first year, but
He's referring
so
to
Levi
you.
looks over at me. He's like, "You can no longer be called the Chin." Man. I was like, I lost my
Chin
title.
Squad.
Yeah,
The one thing I had.
Chin
yeah, it
gang.
was my one thing. I totally lost where we're at. Chet, did you give your?
Yeah, I want to
You did.
first.
Okay, so Tribal Fox Creations, all that will be linked below. And again, you can find them at Sterling Armory. Apologies if I'm repeating, because I had a little bit to drink. Is it to me?
Yes.
You or Josh?
No, I think it was Josh.
Josh doesn't want an outro. I'll do mine.
I was gonna let you see how far you'd go.
No. So SterlingArmory.com or not .com. Don't go to that one. That's horrible. Hasn't been updated in like 12 years.
www.sterlingarmory.com.
You can go
Yep.
there,
Got
but
it.
there's a nice link that says go to the Facebook page because that page is under construction.
There's a link that
And-
says "site under construction."
Right, yeah,
Preparing for Y2K.
right.
Right.
Yeah, that's how long ago that thing was updated. So yeah, Facebook.com/Sterling Armory or Instagram/Sterling Armory. You can find all of us there, and that's where my main contact is at. And then again, if you're here, our Sterling Armory YouTube page. So yeah, we're excited. A lot of us are, at least for myself, are very booked up on current orders that we're getting, and then getting ready for Combat Con. That's our next big thing. So keep an eye out for blades. We'll be posting them as they get designed and developed for Combat Con. So yeah, throwing it to Josh and Colton.
I already did mine.
You did yours. What? I don't remember it.
I told you he's gonna weird
Do it
out.
again.
It's because we're interchangeable at this point.
Yeah. You can find me at Copperthorn Customs .org with 2 L's,
6 P's.
6 P's, and a silent Q.
I'm just distracted by the sword.
I'm Josh Warbear. You can find me at on Instagram at Dark Archer Design _ between the words, or Joshua Von Warbear on Facebook, or my website darkarcherdesign.com. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, and so Colton, Copperthorn, just did their first Ren Fair, right, out in Utah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I believe so. You went out with what, 6, 7 daggers?
I know with
And they're
7.
all- 7, and they're all gone, right?
No. 4 of them.
4
Sorry.
of them. So that
We did the
means
sold out on the 4 of them.
3 of them are still available.
Yes. 3 are still
By
available.
the time this airs, they probably won't be. Right. So,
Right.
Probably not.
but our pieces are going very fast. So as soon as we get stuff made, it's gone. So if you see anything that we post on Facebook or on Copperthorn or on Tribal Fox or on Dark Archer, if you like it and you want to get it quick, because we honestly can't keep stuff in house. As soon as we make it, it's gone. So if you like any of our stuff, please let us know and shoot us a message, and we'll try to work something out.
Also, keep a lookout on our social medias. We're going to be doing some announcements pretty soon about some schedules for some shows we're going to be doing and conventions we're going to be doing that you can come hang out and buy us drinks at and buy swords.
Yeah, and hopefully, I think one of our sword talks, we haven't talked about this yet, but we should probably do one of our sword talks live at Combat Con.
Definitely.
Correct. Absolutely.
That's
No,
great.
so me and Sierra were actually talking about this. We need to do like a journey down, like a whole journey of this, so we can record on the ride down a little bit when we get there.
At buffet.
You know, just
Yeah,
kind of
all
throw
the
up just little, just
That
couple
seated
minutes.
Every
buffet like last time.
Agreed.
$50 buffet.
Yeah, awesome. That'd be awesome. Yeah, tell Sarah. Good idea.
Yeah.
So Sierra's our marketing lady. She doesn't know that yet, but
She is very
Time
good.
this goes live.
yep. Alrighty. Well, I think that's it for today's topic. We're already at an hour 40 minutes. So if you've hung on with us this long, thanks for watching. And any closing remarks? We had an outro, but I already forgot what it was.
The outro is don't let your babies drink ferric chloride.
Oh yeah.
And if you do, hit them with Windex.
All right. Well, thanks everybody, and we will catch you next time.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye, guys.